Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. I want to remind you, just tuning in, that you can check us out on our YouTube. You probably watch us now, but if you listen to us on our podcast, go over to our YouTube channel, the Stephen Knight Show, and check us out. I want to remind you, all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Just go to StephenKnightShow.com. All right, so, also, when you're on YouTube, subscribe, comment, and like. We definitely appreciate you helping us get the word out that we're now on video. All right, so Ms. Parker, how are you feeling? How was your weekend?
Happy Monday, guys. It was good. As good as, as well. I think we're doing as well as we can. I try to stay off of social media a little bit on this weekend, but I participated in a protest that I mentioned in the previous segment that was put on by the healthcare workers of Atlanta. And so a lot of doctors, surgeons from Emory, Northside, Grady, their family and friends got together and protested on Saturday. So that was an empowering and it's an inspiring movement to be a part of and lend my voice to, and I think I needed that. So, but it was an overall, as best as I can weekend, I guess. That's what we're calling it now.
I know. Not only do we have this coronavirus, but we have the protests and, it's a lot going on. Chicken, how was your weekend? I don't think we can hear you.
We'll go to Nair in the meantime.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nair. How was your weekend?
It was fair. I think that's a good way to put it, as best as we can. It was fair. I actually took half a day off Sunday. I watched David Chappelle's Honors.
Okay.
The Mark Twain Honors. That was pretty good. And I started to watch the In Between Two Ferns movie, but I didn't finish it. I got tired. But my weekend was fair. It was easy. Yeah, it was fair for me.
Yeah, I hear that. I think we got Chicky back.
Do we? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. How was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good. I basically opened my business back up, so I'm back to somewhat normal.
Nice.
We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah. My weekend was pretty good. Actually, I had to take a break from everything too. Like, I usually don't watch the news anyway on the weekends because, I watch it all week long. But last week I did watch it because, the protests were just starting up and everything. I was glued to the TV. But Saturday, one of my homeboys hit me up, wanted me to go with him to this little kickback. But he said they were socially distancing. And if he said that if it's packed, then we're going to leave. We went there. It was a big old house. It was like 6 people. So I felt pretty cool with that. But it was just a distraction, from everything going on. Well, our question of the day. So has your place of employment commented or sent out any kind of correspondence regarding the recent protests? Ms. Parker?
Yeah, pretty surprisingly to me, I work for a pretty large tech IT company, technology company, and I was pretty surprised that the CEO reached out last Monday. So the protest really started last Thursday, and on Monday we received a pretty well-drafted, compassionate, well-written, sounded genuine email from him, pretty much saying that he stood with the movement, and the company does as well. And so, I still was on the fence about, okay, well, it's really well written. And I do know him personally. I've met him a few times, and he's on our Zoom happy hour. So we kind of have I'm not sure if he would recognize him while we're out, but we have communicated a few times. So I wasn't sure if it was genuine, if it was something written by one of his staff, but I, gave him the benefit of the doubt until on Monday we had an all hands meeting, which we have every Wednesday, since Corona started, where everyone from all of our locations in other countries, our Asian location, our Serbian location, we all call in. So it's like maybe 100,000 people on a call. And on that call, he actually stood his grounds, and he said, I've received some emails stating that, regarding the email that I sent stating that we stood by the movement. I want you guys to know that this is not a party thing, because some people were making it out of a Republican and Democrat thing. And he said, this is a personal stand and a company stand. If you don't like it, this may not be the place for you. And so I felt like that was a pretty strong, not just company, but personal stand. And I was pretty impressed by that. After that, I think he showed really good leadership, because after that, we received, all the Black people on my team, we received a lot of emails and text messages, and I am from other white members of our team saying, hey, I wasn't sure on how to approach this, but I'm here, or whatever, the message Mike said in his email, you can tell it gave them the courage to reach out, the courage to say, I too stand by him and by the message and by your movement. One of my team members is from Serbia, and she's not really aware of like the Black American struggle, and she's the historical factors. And she told me that I'm going to do as much research as I can to educate myself on the matter. And I want you to know that if I ever was to be insensitive in any way, you have the right to correct me, because it's just something that's just so foreign to me. So anyways, it's been a good overall experience of support. I was very touched last week of all the people who reached out, and the kind words they had to say in support of this movement. And I think it was because Mike set the example.
That's awesome. That's a good leader. Shige, what about you?
So the unit that I work for the hospital is the peri-op unit, which is basically the operating floor, and it's totally separate from the hospital. Even though it's within the hospital, it's a different division. We operate totally different than everybody else in the entire hospital. And we received the email stating that we were all to take a knee at 1 p.m. If you wanted to participate in solidarity. However, the rest of the hospital was going across the street to Franklin Field, and Franklin Field is basically where they hold the pin relays. So we were all going to go over there, take a knee at 1 o'clock, and hold it for the 46 seconds.
Yeah.
Mr. Floyd. However, we weren't allowed to go there and participate the way that we would have because of time constraints, being as though how we work. So I basically gathered up my troops, and we went into one of the empty operating rooms, and we did it. And I actually did a photo op, and I put it up, and Penn was very supportive, and they put the pictures up and they posted them on their Instagram. So my job has been very inclusive. They're really getting behind it, and the conversations are starting to happen. And you can see, I guess, the care, because people are apologizing for things that they haven't done, and they're just being extra nice. And it's nice to know that it's affecting them that way and starting conversations. So yeah, they're being very supportive.
Nice. What about you, Naya?
No, I don't think they're aware. It's a China-based company in China. So I don't think they're even really aware. I mean, they could be if they chose to be, but I don't think they're really aware or either concerned so much. They got their own thing. They're in their own world. So no, they haven't sent any letters or communication to me in particular, or to any of my colleagues that I've been told about. And they don't have a platform here in America to do so. So I don't know if they'd even been exposed to what's happening here to that level. I don't know if they know about Mr. Floyd. It would seem kind of hard for them not to, but I really don't think they know about it in China and Beijing. Now, well, as far as the people I'm working with there, I did see some things going on in Japan, but I haven't heard much from the Chinese community. No.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I know my company, I received the email from H&M. I received the email from other companies where I've shopped. Pornhub released a statement, but my company has not said anything. And that has really annoyed me. We had a conference call on Thursday, and my boss, which I really don't, I'm shocked she hadn't said anything because she has an opinion about everything. But the only thing she said at the end of the call was, we're living in crazy times. Everyone treat each other nicely, or something like that. She called me afterwards and asked me how I was doing. And I told her exactly how I was doing. And we're actually going in the office for the first time since the pandemic tomorrow. And I'm going to say how disappointed I am at the company for not saying anything else. They're sending out emails about the monthly contest for exercise and all this stuff, but you can't talk about what everyone's talking about in the world. And most of our consultants, at least most of my consultants, are all Black. So what message are you showing people that are making you money? You know what I mean? And so I'm going to say something tomorrow. I'm going to say I'm disappointed at the fact that nothing has been said. Because I am. The more I thought about it, like today, I was just like, it makes no sense to me. You know, we got to do better. You can say something, you know what I mean? Even if it was a blanket statement, whatever, but not to acknowledge it, that's just, to me, that's just insensitive. It really is. And I thought about it. I don't think there are many Black people that work internally for our company. I don't think there are many Black people, but I am a Black person that works there. And I would appreciate if something was sent out. And I love our boss, don't get me wrong. I mean, our owner, he's a cool guy, but they missed the ball there, dropped the ball there. Well, tweet us at home, Steve and I Show SHO, and let us know, has your place of employment commented on the recent protests? All right, so quick coronavirus update. We have over 6.8 million cases worldwide with 397,000 deaths. Here in the US, we're almost at 2 million cases with 112 deaths. Now, cities like New York have started to open back up, like phase 1 and phase 2, even as cases are rising. The fear is that we're going to see a lot more cases with the recent protests, because although a lot of people are wearing masks, which is a great thing, most people aren't social distancing. You can't with hundreds of thousands of people out there. But they said that the numbers were already had already risen prior to the protest starting. So it'll be curious to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Say about 14 days, you know, for it to show up if you are symptomatic. We're actually going in tomorrow, like I said, and they're going to take our temperature at the door and have a kit with a mask and a water bottle and some hand sanitizer. My thing is, my job can be done 100% remotely. I don't understand why we're going in, but it is what it is. How do you feel as it relates to the coronavirus, Ms. Parker? Do you think that we'll see a rise in cases with all the protests?
You know, I have an unconventional opinion about corona that I've always held, but, you know, I think even now more so, that it's going to have to just, I think, probably go through most of us. I think at some point, almost everyone is going to catch corona. And I think the best thing you can do as an individual is just make sure that you're healthy and that your immune system is healthy. I don't think that there will be 100% avoiding it if you want to live a full life or even something close to it. So I haven't, you know, I've been mindful, but corona hasn't been as much in my mind as, you know, other things that we're going through at this moment.
Right.
I get that. Chica?
So with all the protesting happening and National Guards being called into cities, you know, Philadelphia got kind of buck wild here last week. You know, they kind of turned stuff out. The National Guard was called in. So I told you that my job put me up in the hotel. Well, the hotel also was hosting the National Guard. So every morning at 4:30, when I went downstairs to leave the building, the National Guard was all over the lobby. No one had on a mask. No one was social distancing. They were just there. They were laying all over the place. They were laying all over each other. It was, and it had to be at least like 50 of them. Now, the hotel policy is that you wear a mask when you come into the building. That's for everyone, I guess, except the National Guard. So I don't understand like what's going on. In certain instances, you're supposed to wear a mask when you enter certain facilities, and you're supposed to do social distancing, but it only happens with certain people. I don't see people adhering to the guidelines that were set in order to live a healthy life during coronavirus time. So yeah, I'm a little scared of the spike because I saw what it can do inside the hospital. And if it reaches levels that we aren't prepared for, we could be in for trouble. So that's my concern, and that's coming from the medical side.
I know in Atlanta, I think Stephen froze for a little while, but I think I know in Atlanta things are opening back up as normal. The clubs are open. There's even an after hours spot, a new spot that opened on Sunday from midnight to 6 a.m. They're going about their business like everything is normal. I went to a sip and see, which is like a baby, baby that was born about 6 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and she didn't get a chance to get a baby shower. So it was supposed to be where she's in a separate room. You walk in and you can take a look at her through the glass, which it was at first. But right when I was about to leave was when his family and friends were coming in, and I knew that they were trying to do it in segments of different times. And I was about to leave because I knew another group was coming, and his family, they're Nigerian. So it's like maybe 50 people showed up at the same time. Yeah. And they walked right in that room and grabbed the baby. And I was just like, oh my God. And one of the girls that was there with me, who a mutual friend of the mother, she was telling me how, because I saw her story that she had been out, and she was telling me how the club was packed and they were going out again the next day. So I don't know. It's just, I think people are just over it. They're trying to find ways to, especially within our community, there's been so much stress, find ways to de-stress and get out and be with their family and friends. But I'm still trying to be mindful of that. I don't have to go out at all this year, honestly. As long as I can have little gatherings and see my family and friends, I think I'll be good.
Yeah. What about you, Naya?
Do I think there's going to be a spike?
Yeah.
It's likely. I don't know enough. Chike knows more. I kind of agree with what he said. I'm in the middle with that. The likelihood is there. Will we be prepared is the question. And also making sure that you make the smartest decision you can make for you, the wisest decision you can make for you. If your immune system and overall health is where it needs to be or not, that needs to be your focus through it all. Because you may find yourself in a position, someone may find themselves in a position such as yours where you need to integrate back into work or into the workspace or so forth. So the focus should remain on individual health, individual responsibility as far as that goes, and hoping for the best if you have to get back into the,
Yeah, I think a lot of companies they're finding safe ways of opening back up, and I commend that. I know a restaurant over in my neighborhood, I went there, and they opened up their patio, which I'm not comfortable doing that, but I was going to pick up the food, and they have like their own system, like they have every time they do the card reader, they wipe that down, spray it down. They have gloves on, they have masks on, and it seemed safe. I'm not ready to go sit down at a restaurant yet, but I think people are doing what they need to do to be safe if they are being safe. Some people are just out there wilding out. The club,
they think they escape. They're gonna get to that 13th day and not feeling a certain way.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about the George Floyd case. As you know, it's 2 weeks today that he was murdered. All 4 officers since last week's show, 4 officers have been charged. Derek Chauvin, he was originally charged with 3rd-degree murder and 3rd-degree manslaughter, but it's been updated or increased to 2nd-degree murder and 2nd-degree manslaughter. The other 3 have been charged with aiding and abetting 2nd-degree murder and aiding and abetting 2nd-degree manslaughter. Several memorial services have been held in Minnesota, North Carolina, and then Houston tomorrow. Joe Biden attended the service today and actually met with his family. And he did a video that will be aired at the funeral tomorrow. Now, the White House is urging your boy to give a speech this week to address the country about racism and unity. As you know, protests have been going on nearly 2 weeks, and he hasn't said anything except for on Twitter. Ms. Parker, what are your thoughts? First, let's talk about the George Floyd case, and then with your president addressing the country as he should have done 2 weeks ago.
I'm very proud of the protesters. A lot of the initial protesters were, the younger generation, the kids that we've all given up on and thought they were just, video game babies, honestly, that they sat around, played video game and had no interest in anything else but, themselves, and they were unmotivated. And there was this perception that, they could not mobilize. And I'm very proud of them for, for taking over this movement. Really, they've been the face of it, and they've been the ones in the front line doing all of the work and making sure that this doesn't just go away after a day or two, or after a weekend. Just let me start by saying that I am very proud of them. I also want to mention some of the attorneys that are working on these cases that I know personally, that I'm so inspired by and proud of, and just know that, their hearts are in a good place, and that they want to do this work for us. They are, people keep saying, we're going to have a leader of this movement. Maybe we don't need one leader. Maybe the attorneys that are going out there and making changes and making sure the cops pay, making sure the state pay, out of pocket with their money, making sure that the families are visible. Maybe they are our leaders in certain ways. Maybe there'll be several leaders. Maybe we don't need one person. But the Chris Stewarts, the Lee Merritts, the Justin Millers of this are doing an amazing job. The Brian Stevenson, all of those guys who use their knowledge of the law to make sure that they're able to make changes. I think that's amazing. So I think, without those people who are in the front line that we really don't acknowledge in the fight, that are putting pressure on these lawmakers, putting pressure on the mayors and the district attorney to make the changes to different charges. These are the people that are important in leading this movement. So I think that, in that instant, I think that that's awesome. And that's something that we should be mindful and grateful for, having those people. As far as your boy 45 giving a statement at this time, who cares? I honestly think that it would be more of an insult if he does it now. And he's not going to say anything that's going to be useful, anything that's going to bring us together. There won't be anything that's going to be impactful. So I think that it's better that we don't hear from him. GK, what do you think?
Oh,
so I'm all for the legal system and justice, and I do want to see the cops put behind bars, but I believe strongly that they need to be hit in the pocket. Money needs to be affected. Maybe a fine for the municipalities for policemen, in their camp being rogue, being murderers. Maybe that needs to happen. And I know they're talking about defunding. That's all well and good, but I'm speaking more directly. Like, take their pensions away and put a scarlet letter on their record so they can't go to another state or another town and get hired again. So basically, they're operating like priests. A priest molests a child, they just go to another.
They can move to another church. Yeah.
Exactly. So I put it to the world this way. I'm a medical professional. I take an oath with my job, like doctors and nurses. We have licensure. If I was harming patients for the sake of a racial motivation, what do you think would happen to me? I couldn't work anywhere again in the field of medicine. So the same needs to happen with them.
Well, with the financial thing, Chike, I know for a fact that the attorneys are going to be suing the police department and then the cities.
Good.
On in silver cases. I do know that. But with you saying that there should be policies of these guys going and working other places, I think that's been, for me, the biggest disappointment in all of these cases, that I've read from years ago. All of these cops are able to move on. And if they can't work in another police department, the fire department hires them. But today I read that there's been a new law put in place in San Diego, making it the very first state. So if a police officer is fired for misconduct in any city in San Diego, they will no longer be able to work anywhere else.
Good.
And not only that, if a person applied for a job in the police force and they have any misconduct on their records, but wasn't fired, just people reporting them over and over, they will not get a job. So I think that that's a step, and other cities hopefully will follow suit.
Yeah. And as far as him making
what are you gonna say, Naya?
to the people. I honestly think that he's taking a hard stand against not doing it because he knows that he wouldn't have anything constructive to say. He doesn't want to say anything constructive.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care, but it's also this. Just like the whole story about him going into the bunker, he felt like he had to do something adverse to that to make him look stronger. So because of all these protests and there's a stronger resistance against him now, he's not going to say anything because he's showing his disdain for what's happening. You know, you do something, he throws up a bigger fence. I'm waiting for him to react to the whole Black Lives Matter street being made.
Yeah. What you gonna say, Nair?
I don't have nothing to say about him. You know, I think he ain't talking about us. He ain't thinking about us. I don't want to spend more time talking about that, man. You know, he's
not saying anything about the blacks.
Yeah, right.
That's what he calls us, the blacks.
Yeah, blacks. Yeah, he ain't saying nothing progressive, nothing that's gonna, you know, bring fruit to our conversation and work. I ain't got nothing to say about him for sure. But the first half of it was, the first part of the question was, Stephen?
What do you think about the case and the charges?
Correct. Remember, we were talking about that when our lawyer correspondent was on, right?
Yeah, Mel Davis.
Yeah, when we were saying that they're gonna have to upgrade those charges, and sure enough, that's happened. So that made me very happy to see that they are upgrading. Hopefully, we get even more juice squeezed out the lemon. Hit them all ways, like Chike said, financially. Hit them with the actual process of being found guilty of what they've done, and then let them serve their time. The aiding and abetting, if that can get upgraded even more, I'm all for it. I'm happy that Lee Merritt and the others that are on the ground, I'm happy that they are squeezing the life out of this situation, because this is the polarizing example that these young kids who, with that great energy, this is what they're protesting around this moment.
Yeah.
This moment needs to be remembered a certain way. If this moment goes any other way, to where people don't feel like they're being held accountable, this energy may increase. That's where you can see a spike, you know? So I'm just happy that this moment is happening, and this is an important part of this whole moment in history that's gonna need to be remembered vividly.
Most definitely. I'm glad that you're seeing such a diverse group of people that are out protesting. In some cases, you see all white people out there protesting. And then not only is it domestically, it's globally. You know, people who can't even speak English are calling his name, George Floyd. You know what I mean? I think that this is like we had never seen it before at this large of a magnitude. And so it can't go back to business as usual. I don't know if you saw, but the Democrats, they took a knee for 8 minutes and 46 seconds today, and the same amount of time that the knee was on George's neck. And so, you know, even the NFL commissioner, he came out saying that they were wrong, although he still has not said anything about Colin Kaepernick, but he said they were wrong. Aaron and I will talk about that in the next segment. But yeah, I mean, this is the big thing. This is a huge thing. I mean, anytime Pornhub is showing solidarity.
Just can't get over that.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know that was real. I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of companies that have surprised me with their message, their strong stand on this. But I wanted to kind of interject with the protest. I too am very, very pleasantly surprised at the different ethnic groups that are out there in support of this movement. And especially some white people, to be honest with you, because until I was out there, I've seen them on TV, but I didn't understand how passionate they were. They were like actually chanting louder than we were, you know. And
Very
I would say out of the group of maybe I would say 400 of us, half were of white descent, of European descent. And so, and even when we were walking through Midtown, there were people with signs, you know, out their windows, their balconies, saying white silence is a crime, you know, and they were white people. And just to see that support, they would come out and clap for us and cheer us on, bring us water, because it was a pretty hot day and we're out there for like 3 or 4 hours. But it's this collective energy which I needed to feel. I think because I had been so saddened by what was going on and sitting at home watching. I think I needed to feel, and then once my coworkers, my white coworkers started reaching out to me, I felt their support, and then being out there, I think we need to feel that support. We need, because this issue is a white people problem. It's going to have to be fixed by white people.
It's a humanity problem. Yeah. Right. Yep. Well, shout out to some of these celebrities too. A lot of them have donated. Michael Jordan, $100 million he donated towards the cause. Jennifer Aniston quietly donated $1 million to the cause. A lot of celebrities are doing that, and even paying for some of the protesters their bail if they get arrested. And when everyone needs to do what they can to help. But listen, we got a wrap. Miss Parker, we'll see you Mental Health Mondays, Chike Movie Reviews, and now you have a great week, and we'll see y'all again next Monday, okay?
Thank you. Cool.
Have a good week, guys.
Great job.
When we come back, Dr. Steve Perry, right back after this.